Welcome to our third and final chapter, exploring around Cimarron County, Oklahoma. We're going to stay mostly in the eastern part of the county, starting here in Boise City, which is the county seat. Previously did a video about Boise City if you want to learn all about Boise City, but there were like 7 different places that tried to become the county seat, and several of them right around here, and most of them, well, all of them really have hardly anything left. There's a lot of historical things, as we've learned in the first couple videos exploring. Hopefully we find some more. Probably going to find some ghost towns, maybe some cemeteries, and we do have one town along the way, the other incorporated town besides Boise City that we're going to hit more in the eastern side of the county. I'm always curious when I get to these cemeteries and I find that they had a post office, and I just wonder, was there a town? Was it just a rural post office? Garlington had a post office from 1908 to 1926, which is actually later than many of the post offices in Cimarron County. And so you walk around, there's you can read dates that are back in that time, and then ones that are newer, more recent. There's farm equipment literally right across the dirt road here, and so still people living in this area, and so you just wonder what this used to be. I'm sure there's local history written somewhere about places like this, and we're going to find several of these kind of places today, but I wonder what it was, if it was a town or if it was just a little post office in somebody's house out in the country. As I go down the interesting back roads here of Cimarron County, I'm basically just going to some of these places, even though I know there's probably nothing there, because I found an old map that it almost looked like a homemade map that had approximate locations of towns, and so just off the chance that there might be something there, I'm gonna go through these places. And I had to approximate where they were because this was a map from over 100 years ago. I'm putting it on the map of today. And some of them I've already found aren't even close because there were cemeteries. Like in the first part, Garrett Cemetery wasn't even close to where it said Garrett was located in that map. So who knows? But I'll put on the screen sometimes if I go through these places that where when the post office was and what they were named. The sun has come out, and I found a really cool old school, a Plainview School. And I was just down the road. There was a cemetery called Marcella, because there was a post office for about 10 years in the early 1900s. And the school is just down the road. So I don't know much about it. It doesn't look real old. In fact, there's some clues that maybe it was open not too long ago. Just peering in through the window, there's some at least it's been taken care of reasonably well. So very cool spot. Found some friendly dogs here. There's a house with some playground equipment from the school right next to it, so definitely an unexpected find. First schoolhouse I've seen in a while here in Cimarron County. Here's a good one for you ghost town fans. Griggs, Oklahoma. And you never know what to expect. Obviously, we've been going through this day and haven't found much. We did find the Plainview School, and then we pull up here, and this is a ghost town. And post office was open until 1973. But man, walk the streets of Griggs and you find some interesting things. There's a Elliott store, Griggs Mercantile, established in 1936. There's another building that says Marvin Elliott, so obviously Elliott was significant to this community. There's a church over here that's been abandoned, and just a lot of abandoned buildings. It looks like there may be a house or two, so I don't know if anyone lives here or if those are abandoned as well. But yeah, this is definitely a good find if you like ghost towns. There's a sign that says Plainview 5 miles. Maybe this had something to do with that school. Maybe people lived here, went to the Plainview School. There was certainly a community here at one time. It was much busier than it is now, which right now it is not busy at all. The pavement literally ends here in Griggs. There are a few houses out in this part of Cimarron County, but there's more abandoned buildings and abandoned houses than there are actually, houses that people are living in. So kind of interesting to drive along and you see a house like, oh wow, there's actually someone who lives out here. Most of the time it's abandoned. I'm heading back west on 64, 412, 3 different roads combined into one. There's a few different places that had post offices along this kind of stretch, and it was around when Oklahoma became a state, 1907, and then a couple of them lasted for a couple years, and then Hurley lasted until 1925. So Minnetonka and Myrna only a couple years. So hard to know why things started where they did. Usually there was some sort of water source, or maybe there was a trail through here. A lot of times a railroad, but yeah, they didn't last very long. But we will go to the next one we're going to go to, though. There should be a cemetery. Was one of the ones I mentioned that was in the battle for the original county seat. Earlier I was talking about there were several towns that tried to become the county seat, and Willow Bar was one of them. And this is Willow Bar, or at least this is the cemetery, and I'm assuming the area where the town used to exist. Post office from in the early 1900s till in the 1920s. And there's an old house down the way, and there's the cemetery, which is really nice and kept well, and it's pretty big for a town that hasn't existed for almost 100 years. And it's pretty much the case with a lot of towns, if they didn't win the county seat, and there just wasn't as much of a reason to keep them going. And this is the other incorporated town in the county beside Boise City. And they started this town when Willow Bar ended. So basically the post office ended in 26 there, started in 26 here. And it's because the railroad came through here and in 1926, and the town started to build up. And the town grew to a few hundred people, and kind of like a normal small town out here. And then the drought and depression was really tough here. But then oil was discovered near here, and that helped kind of revive the economy here. And then kind of once the 60s and 70s came through, the railroad was abandoned, and farming, kind of agricultural methods changed, and so the town started getting smaller. Still over 200 people here, and so it's got a lot of houses still, and it's interesting to go through. Going down the main street is kind of remarkable. It feels like nothing is open. There may be a couple businesses open. I'm here on a Sunday, so it's possible that there's a couple businesses down there. But it is pretty interesting. It feels like a ghost town in the downtown area. But then you do drive around the community, and there's plenty of people out and about doing stuff. So very interesting, second largest town in Cimarron County. Something interesting I noticed is that all the north-south streets are named after American presidents. And the main street is named after President James Polk. Usually the kind of main street would be one of the more, famous presidents, but maybe it's fitting that this main street is named after President Polk. The next couple places, I'm guessing, were stops on the railroad. You saw Keys there. I think there were 2 railroads, and this was, I don't know when it was abandoned, but it seems like it was probably longer ago. And Burton looks like it's kind of still abandoned, like it's just sitting out there in the middle of a field. Pretty cool, actually. And then come to a place called Hopkins, and it looks like it's turned into a agriculture business, or maybe it always has been, and that's why it was named that. But yeah, they look like stops on the railroad. Also out here were a couple of ghost towns on an old map that I found. One was called Midwell, and one was called D. Somewhere out here, we're real close to Texas County, which is the next county east in Oklahoma. But yeah, a long time ago, there were some post offices or some old ghost towns out here. This is a bit of a needle in a haystack coming down that road that had some interesting little detours, and there's a little cemetery right here called the Haugen Cemetery, and man, could have easily missed it. But yeah, there's a couple of headstones out there. I'm guessing maybe they're family, some sort of a family cemetery. Confederate veteran. made it around to our last community, which is named Sturgis, and it was right here on the railroad. It started in 1926, and as we've learned, that's when the railroad came through here. Only had a post office for 10 years, and so I don't know, why that was such a short-lived post office. A lot of these places, there's not a lot of history about these communities that are for someone like me to find, that's kind of just popping in and checking things out. So any of these communities that I've had on the video, that if you know more about the history, feel free to put them in the comments. I'd love to learn more about them. But yeah, only thing here left, there's a house across the street, and not much else. In the first two videos, we have had two different corners where there were three states, a three-state corner. And so the first one was up there with Colorado and New Mexico and Oklahoma, and then the second one was Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. And now since I'm from Kansas, I'm heading back. This is going to be Oklahoma, Colorado, and Kansas. I gotta say, of the three corners, this is probably the coolest one. I like that, how they have it up in the air instead of kind of down on the ground on a little like a post. But yeah, pretty cool. I like it. So what did you think of Cimarron County? I think it's fascinating, and it's the reason I came out here. I plan to do more videos out here about no man's land and the kind of history, because it kind of continues going east from here. There's Texas County and Beaver County, and those were all part of no man's land as well, but this was the most remote and least populated of all those counties. Cimarron County is fascinating because of that history, because it's the least populated county in the entire state of Oklahoma. It borders all these other states, and the county borders all these other counties, which is unique to any place in the United States. So the geography, the history, the uniqueness of it being in the Panhandle, I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of post offices back in the day here, and they're all long gone. So I'm going to put them on the screen, and if you know anything about them, these are ones that I didn't mention or didn't go to. If you know anything about them, or if maybe they do exist and I missed them, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear more about the history of Cimarron County. Yeah, so great trip, great few days. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm hoping to come back again soon, maybe do some more videos out here with some of my new friends that I met in Cimarron County. Thanks for watching this video about Cimarron County, Oklahoma. If you like this video, there are several ways to support the channel. You can donate by hitting the thanks button under the video, or purchase Travel with the Wiseguy merchandise. In the description of the video is a link to my website where you can learn more about the channel and sign up for my newsletter. And if you aren't interested in any of that, I'm just happy you took a few minutes out of your day to watch this video and learn a little bit about the history of Cimarron County. And now on to the outtakes. Oh wow, there's a whole pack of you. That's pretty good. Thing spins really well. How old do you think that is? Got the whole family here. Oh, okay. Hi. Oh.
Running down the street. It feels like you're running at an incredible rate, Harry.